The United States is panicking. We are officially in panic mode because right now, our greatest fear is we are going to have a direct conflict with any of the three countries like China, Russia, or Iran. The problem right now is we do have conflicts with these three countries. And it's all because they are either in or potentially going to war with either Ukraine, which Russia is currently in a war, with Israel, which Iran is currently in a very small war or a start to a war. And the third one is Taiwan, which China has stated they are going to reunify Taiwan with mainland China. That right there would bring the United States into this conflict, and that could turn into a world war. So because of those three countries, the United States is now sending billions and billions of dollars to those countries to try to prevent any of these wars from escalating or the tensions in Taiwan from turning into a massive war. So, I want to break down what went on this weekend, what we are now facing, and why some of the people here in the United States are deeply concerned. So, make sure you stick around for this entire video, and I'll explain exactly what is going on. All I ask is one thing. It takes 2 seconds. Go ahead and hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates. And now, let's begin. So I first want to say one thing, because we saw this weekend that $95 billion in a foreign aid package is going to go to three countries. Three countries. Now, why is that so important? Well, the majority of this package, which is actually $60 billion or $61 billion, is going to go to Ukraine. Another $26 billion will go to Israel, and another $8 billion will go to the Indo-Pacific, which is mainly Taiwan. Now, the reason why so much money is going to go to Ukraine, well, there's two reasons. Number one, we have learned from Russia that they are preparing for a large-scale war with NATO. The United States doesn't want that because an attack on one NATO country is an attack on all NATO countries, according to President Biden. But here's the reason why there's over $60 billion going to Ukraine. Some of that money, about 80% of that money, is going to go to replenish our inventory, the U.S. stockpiles, based off of what Speaker Mike Johnson has said. But I also want to show you this as well. Okay, this right here, I believe was pulled from the Washington Post. But look at this right here. Okay, how much money is going to go to Ukraine? It says the bill provides $60.84 billion to address the conflict in Ukraine specifically. It says $23 billion to replenish U.S. weapons stocks and facilities. $14 billion for the Ukraine Security Assistance Initiative, a U.S. Department of State-led funding program that helps train Ukraine's military and provides equipment and advisory initiatives. More than $11 billion will fund current U.S. military operations in the region, enhance the capabilities of the Ukrainian military, and boost intelligence collaboration between Kyiv and Washington. And then another $8 billion in non-military assistance, including helping Ukraine's government pay salaries. Okay? That's why there's about $61 billion going to Ukraine. However, there's also money going to Israel. And I want to go over that as well. Okay? Why Israel? Again, one of the concerns that we are facing here in the United States is if Israel and Iran have a regional war. Because, and this is right there, they're so close. Iran has, essentially attacked Israel as a retaliation. Israel then responded, but based off the reports just last night, Israel said they originally planned to have a larger scale attack, but they scaled back to prevent a war. So as of right now, we don't know if Iran is planning to retaliate the retaliation. So we'll see. But if Iran doesn't, the concern is we still have to be prepared for what Hezbollah decides to do. Hezbollah is the one Iranian proxy that is most likely to attack on Iran's behalf. So we'll see. Here's how much money is going to go to Israel, though. It says the foreign aid package allocates some $26.38 billion for Israel, including $9.1 billion for humanitarian needs. Specifically, the allocation will see $5.2 billion go to replenishing and expanding Israel's missile and rocket defense system, $3.5 billion for buying advanced weapons systems, and $1 billion to enhance weapons production. Another $4.4 billion for other supplies and services to Israel, and $9.2 billion for humanitarian purposes, including in the Gaza Strip and the occupied West Bank. Now, that's what's going to Israel. Keep in mind that many people have been pushing back on aid to Israel and to Ukraine. $60 billion going to Ukraine, but yet we see nothing for the U.S. southern border. There's no policy. There's no provisions in there. No money has been allocated. Nothing. Many people are upset by that. But now this is pushing, okay? This is really pushing Russia. And Russia is warning of direct clashes with the West over Ukraine. And a couple reasons why. One of the things that was done is the United States now gives or has a policy in place where we can pretty much take the assets from Russia and we can pretty much give those to Ukraine. We can just give Ukraine the assets. And again, I believe there's over there's like $5 billion in funding in U.S. banks from Russia that we could just allocate to Ukraine. Well, listen to this. This is Speaker Mike Johnson. Listen to what he has to say as well. This was right after the House passed the foreign aid bill. Listen to this.
I said these are not normal times. They're not. The world is destabilized, and it's a tinderbox. It's a dangerous time. Three of our primary adversaries, Russia and Iran and China, are working together, and they're being aggressors around the globe.
That right there is a huge concern. When we are seeing Russia, China, and Iran working together, those are the three that we are concerned with. And now they are teaming up. That's not something that the United States wants. And that is one of the reasons why many people believe that the U.S. was panicking. Because now that we saw there's obviously issues with Russia and Ukraine, we know that it's been going on for years. There's an issue with China and Taiwan. Again, we knew that. It's been going on for years. But now Iran is going after Israel, who's our greatest ally in the Middle East. That's something that really threw the U.S. over the edge. So let's keep listening.
And they're a global threat to our prosperity and our security. Their advance threatens the free world, and it demands American leadership. If we turn our backs right now, the consequences could be devastating. So this afternoon, the House acted, and we sent over to the Senate, and it will be transmitted shortly, our supplemental national security legislation. And make no mistake, this is not a blank check like the Senate supplemental bill was. This is very different. Instead of taking the path of least resistance and bringing up the Senate supplemental on the House floor, or just allowing a discharge petition to pursue, which would have had the same outcome.
I want to stop it right there. So yes, this bill is different than what the Senate originally proposed. This bill is way different than what President Biden initially wanted. But here's the thing. Many Republicans have been asking for some type of border security policy. We have no clue if this is going to be the start, and once this passes, then they go back and look at the border security bill and how can they improve U.S. southern border protection. We have no clue. No one's really said that yet. But Speaker Mike Johnson, that might be his path. Here's a concern. He may not be the speaker much longer. Based off what Marjorie Taylor Greene has said, that she is going to put in to get him removed. Like, she's going to make a motion to vacate his speakership. So we're going to see what happens moving forward. All I know is if we lose another speaker it's going to be chaos in the House of Representatives. Let's keep listening.
We gave our members a voice. We gave them a chance. We gave them a better process and ultimately a much better policy. Unlike the Senate's blank check, the House legislation has a number of very important features. It provides for greater accountability over Ukraine aid. It forces an endgame strategy for the Ukraine war. It includes a loan instrument of this foreign aid to Ukraine and the Repo Act to ensure that Russian assets pay for part of the bill. And unlike the Senate's bill, the loan system itself is a House innovation and allows for much needed insight. Now remember that 80% of the Ukraine funding will go to the replenishment of American weapons and stocks.
One of the things I just want to add here is that was a huge concern. Is that we have there's a possibility that the U.S. gets into a war with Iran or China, right? Or any other country for that matter. If that happens, our stockpiles are already depleted. They're so low right now. And this is why it's a concern, is it would take months to pretty much recuperate and to get our stockpiles back, if not years. So because of that, this one provision saying that we are trying to replenish our stockpiles, that's the big news. Okay, that we replenish our stockpiles first, and then from there we can then go and send more munitions to Ukraine, but not just give Ukraine everything that we have and then try to replenish our stockpile. That's not the way to go. And this is exactly what many lawmakers, both Republican and Democratic, have said, is we made a mistake when we went and pulled oil from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, because now our reserve is so low that it's concerning that what if we do go into a war? Gas prices are going to shoot up, and we have no way to bring them down other than just cutting federal taxes. That's about it. That's only going to bring them down about 50 cents a gallon. So it might get much worse. Let's keep listening to what he has to say.
And our facilities and our operations. It also includes tough measures and sanctions on Iran and Russia and China, which most of the American people understand is a necessity and a very important thing.
So we'll stop it right there. So yes, it allows us to put sanctions on these three countries, but again, this is just the beginning. We've heard from many countries. We've heard from Iran, do not give money to Israel. We just did. We've heard from Russia, do not get in the middle of this Russia-Ukraine war. Well, we just re-answered ourselves back into it. Look at this. It says that Russia should confiscate Western assets now after U.S. move, according to a top lawmaker. Now, I want to be very clear on something. How much does the United States hold in Russian assets? Look at this. It says of the $280 billion of Russian assets frozen abroad, only $5 to $6 billion was in the United States, while about $210 billion or $224 billion was in the European Union. This is the concern. Europe, okay? The European Union, if they decide to follow with what the U.S. just did, this could put them in harm's way. But the United States, the reason why the U.S. did this based off the report is to show that, yes, they are going to do this first, and then they want the European Union to follow. They're trying to provoke the European Union to do the exact same thing. I don't know if it works, but it could. I want to show you one last thing. Because right now, based off all the reports that we're getting, Russia is preparing to attack NATO. Okay? Just look at this. It says that Russia is expanding part of its army to ready itself for a large-scale conflict with NATO. This is according to the Institute for the Study of War. I want to be very clear on something. I don't think Russia wants to get into a conflict with NATO, but I don't think the United States is going to step up and protect all NATO countries. I just don't think they do, especially President Biden. Would another president do it? Possibly. Will President Biden? Most likely not, because that would pull the U.S. into a war with Russia, Iran, and China. So, we're going to see what happens moving forward. All I can tell you right now, this is the reason why the United States is in panic mode, because we are now going up against the three countries we did not want to fight. That is Russia, Iran, and China. So, as soon as I know more about what is going on and how this is going to impact you and everyone else here in the United States, I promise I'll bring you that update as soon as possible. But again, I just want to thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.